Shalom. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rika Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also, want to acknowledge all Akyam, who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect. I'm going to go ahead and start in First Mark, chapter 1, Mark 1 and 21, okay? It says, And they went into Capernaum, and straightway on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught. And straightway means immediately, right? So Yahweh Shai had just recruited some disciples, and right away they went and started teaching. And it says they entered into the synagogue and taught. And they were, in verse 22, and they were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one that had authority and not as the scribes. So when you go into that word astonished, it goes in surprised, one of the similar words. So that's the difference, because you go into these Christian pagan churches or these Catholic churches, and you listen to their teachings, and no one's going to be astonished or say that they're teaching with authority, right? But if you're honest, you look at the camps of the Israelites that are set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and we're coming in that same spirit as Yahweh Shai, right? That's why they're astonished, they're surprised to hear the doctrine, right? The truth, the doctrine, the real truth is surprising doctrine. People are going to be astonished at it. They're surprised to find out who the wicked is, right? They're astonished to find out that the chariots are the angels, with the ones they call UFOs. See? They're surprised that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's will is to destroy Babylon America, right? And when we teach these things, do we go out there and whisper in people's ears and talk nicely to them, put our arms around them? Or do we teach it with power and authority? If you're being honest, you know how the Israelites get down on the street corners. We have a reputation, and a lot of people, a lot of groups demonize us, and they'll mock us and scoff us, and because they're not in agreement with the way we teach the scripture. And we don't go out there just to cuss people out, or just to yell at people, or whatever it is, but we go out there and we defend the truth. We stand stiffly for the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So sometimes we do it in a certain manner, in a certain tone, where it's not going to be like your fake ass Christian pastors they try to be nice to everybody. There's no authority in the way they teach. You see? And why is that? Because they're teaching in the spirit of Jesus. With the spirit of Jesus is a lie. But the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that's a whole different story, There's going to be power. There's going to be authority. There's going to be people, there's going to be prophets speaking rudely in some cases, right? And these Christians, they don't understand any of this knowledge. So they might take us, we come across as rude to them, and they think we're wicked men or wicked prophets. You see? Let's see what Paul said about the matter. 2 Corinthians 11:6. But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. See? So, if you understand the scriptures, if you read the scriptures, you will realize that, hey, You can teach with authority. You can teach with power. You can teach with, sometimes come across as rude to people. Right? Doesn't mean we're not godly men. No, it just means we're coming in the same spirit as Yahweh Shai. Because these people have been deceived, They think the Messiah is this weak, pasty, so-called white man, with looking all frail, no strength in him, just nice to everybody. You know what I mean? This is what they they think that's the Messiah. They think the characteristics of the Messiah are weak and kind and loves everybody. That's what they believe. So we become a stumbling block, just like Yahweh Shai was a stumbling block to the majority of the people. Let me see if I can get a... Let me see. Let's go to this one. Let's try this one out. Another one in Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 1, 8 and 9. It says, "But take heed, lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak." See? So, the prophets, just like Yahweh Shai, we're a stumbling block. Because people will look at us and, they'll watch the videos. They've been taught lies in Babylon. So they don't really know what a man of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, they don't know what a man of the Lord looks like, or what a man of the Lord, how he acts, right? Men of the Lord are rough men. The prophets are rough men, Let me see. Let me see real quick. I'm trying to find this. Let's go to Matthew 11. Let me see if this is the verse I'm looking for. Oh, this is it. I'll start at 6. So this is talk Yahweh Shai speaking about John the Baptist. All right. Because again, these people in this world, they're astonished to even the demeanor and the way the men of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai carry, the way we carry ourselves is a stumbling block. It's not what they expect, right? Let's read it. Matthew 11 and 6. "And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." So see, you got to be, part of the being offended is when you learn, even if you come across the camp and the prophets are harsh, or they're austere, or they're in that same spirit as Yahweh Shai, preaching with authority, rude sometimes, rude in our speech. And so you can't, even if you come across the camp and they're in the right spirit, you can't be offended at that. The elect are going to be able to take the, they're going to be able to be reprimanded, scolded, rebuked, they're not going to get offended right away because they're they're scolded by the prophets or whatever. Like, let's read this, because Yahushua is talking about John the Baptist when what I'm reading. It says in verse 7, and as they departed, Yahushua began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? So like a reed shaken in the wind, that's a parable, a metaphor for like something weak, that somebody that can be blown away or persuaded or blown over or taken advantage of, right? But that's not the spirit of the Lord's men. That's the spirit of Jesus's people, weak people. They're not gonna, they're afraid to offend. That's the spirit that these Christian pastors and all these Catholic priests and all these false doctrine leaders in Babylon, they're in that spirit of, they don't want to offend nobody. They're afraid to offend somebody. Even, like, let's say, for instance, if there's a homosexual in their church, they're not going to tell them to get out and reprimand them or rebuke them. Instead, they'll allow them to go to the church. But that's not the spirit of Yahushua. See? That's why he's like, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken with the wind? A pushover? You were looking for when you were looking for John the Baptist, you was looking for a pushover, Verse 8, but what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothes are in kings' houses. So, like, what? You think they stumbled even on us, right? They talk shit about our raiment. They talk shit, which raiment is clothing. They talk shit about our garments. We've had men and women say, "Oh, you look foolish. You look like you're wearing a dress," right? Because they're looking for that guy in the 3-piece suit with the tie, and a blazer, That's the type of that's what they think. They see a man dressed like what you would call the image of the so-called white man today, right? His so-called businessman image. That's what these people look for. They're not. They see us and we're. That's what Yahushua is telling them. Well, you try and look for a dude clothed in a 3-piece suit, soft raiment. He said, no, those are the ones that are in kings' houses. In verse 9. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. For this is he of whom is written, behold, I send my messenger before thy face, which shall prepare thy way before thee. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, that there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Right? Watch, and let's keep reading this. Because again, Yahushua is talking about John the Baptist, because the people stumbled on John the Baptist. They didn't believe. The way Yahweh has set up his men, we're stumbling blocks to the majority of the people. His prophets, the people don't believe we're the men of the Lord. And the same thing happened to John the Baptist. Same thing happened to Yahushua. The same thing happening to the prophets in this age, right? Verse 12, and from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. For all the prophets in the law prophesied until John. And if ye will receive it, this is Elias, which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. So Yahushua is telling you right here, he's telling you that John the Baptist was Elijah, right? And that's why it says, and these Christians, you'll never learn nothing in the Christian church, man. You'll learn nothing but lies. You never learn about reincarnation in the Christian church. But we're reading it right here. It says, and in verse 14, and if ye will receive it, this is Elias which was for to come. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. All right? And I could keep reading in this chapter, but, I'm actually going to stop there. But it shows you the point of this chapter is Yahweh Shai is explaining that the Lord's men, John, in this case, John the Baptist, you stumble at us. The majority of the people don't believe we're the prophets of the Lord. They didn't believe John was a prophet of the Lord. And it even tells you here, he was Elias, talking about the reincarnation, the regeneration, which Elias is Elijah, which that precepts, I'm going to go to it really quick. Malachi 4 and 5, it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So, in Malachi, Yahweh tells Malachi he's going to send Elijah before the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And then we read in Matthew 11 that John the Baptist was Elijah. You got to understand, Elias is the Greek way to say Elijah. And then in verse 6 it says he's going to turn the heart, which we always tell you the heart is the mind of the fathers to the sons, and the mind of the sons to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So now we fast forward, we had Elijah was going to come back. That was the prophecy, which he did. Came back as John the Baptist. And then you got to understand that there's still regeneration, reincarnation after John, who because of the prophecy, Elijah, John the Baptist, and then the more recent was Elder Abba Bivens. Because Elder Abba Bivens put us in our right mindset, put the sons in the right mindset. That's why in verse 6, I'm going to read it again. He shall turn the mind of the fathers to the sons, and the mind of the sons to their fathers. All right? Lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So Elder Abba Bivens was the first man in Babylon, America, to teach the true doctrine, the doctrine that astonishes people. Right? He was the one who first taught in Babylon, America, that the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans were the Israelites. Taught us who we are. We come into remembrance in our captivity, right? We're remembering ourselves in our captivity. But it took Elijah to be reincarnated, regenerated, to bring us back into remembrance. See? So, let's go back to Mark 1. Mark 1. Mark 1 and where are we at? 23. But again, the Lord's prophets are a stumbling block. The Lord's prophets are regenerated, reincarnated. Right? Everybody's reincarnated, regenerated. But if you're a prophet during the time of Yahweh Shai, you're a prophet in these days. Your spirit is always the same. You may have a different body, just like Elias, Elijah, and Abba Bivens. They were all different in the flesh, but the spirit was the same person. That's why they all were doing the same thing, preparing the way for Yahweh Shai. Okay, Mark 1 and where are we at? 23. And here's something kind of heavy. what's heavy about this is you have these unclean spirits. They'll recognize the prophets before these people who are so-called righteous, religious, spiritual, right? These people with demons on them, they recognize us before these people who are calling themselves Christians and calling themselves Catholics and Jehovah's Witnesses and, whatever doctrine you could think of. We're a stumbling block to them, but the demons know us. See? And real quick, there was a time when I was, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago. Elder Malcolm out of the Chicago camp, he was out here with us prophesying in downtown Denver. And there was a demon lady, right? She had a demon spirit on her, an unclean spirit. And she pointed at all of us and was telling us that we were crooked cops, right? We were out there holding camp. And this lady who I'd never seen or met in my life, she pointed directly at me and she called me Officer Robert Encinas, right? And it was heavy because an Elder Malcolm was here. The Elder Malcolm from Chicago was prophesying with us, or we were prophesying with him when that happened. And the heavy part about it was that demon lady called me and pointed directly at me, and she said, "You are Officer Robert Encinas," and that's the name of my my biological father, who I've only met him like 2 or 3 times my whole life, but that demon, she called me by his name. You see? So that's just a quick little testimony that, this verse brought into remembrance. But let me read it again, verse 23. And there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out. And you can go look at that on my videos on my channel. Just look up Demon Lady Knows My Father's, Calls Me by My Father's Name, or something like that. If you're on my channel, you can Google that, or search that on YouTube, and you can watch that account, that video. Did a couple lessons on it. But anyway, verse 23, and there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Yahushua of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of the Most High. See, so this dude had an unclean spirit, but again, these demons, they have more intuition when it comes to the Lord's men than these people who are so-called righteous, who stumble on us, right? They don't believe we are who we are, who we believe we are, which we believe we are the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Verse 25, and Yahushua rebuked him, saying, Hold thy peace and come out of him. And when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him. So you see that the unclean spirit jumped out of the demon, jumped off the man. And that's the kind of power we're coming into. We already pretty much have that power. Because, when we're out in the street corners, we have that ability through faith and through, the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to do the same thing in what we're reading, to bring out unclean spirits out of people. Verse 27, and they were all amazed, and so much that they questioned among themselves, saying, What thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he even the unclean spirits, and they do obey him. See? So that's what it is to these people. That's the same thing they feel and say about the Lord's prophets in this age. They're like, this is a new doctrine. How come I've never been taught this way? How come I've never seen somebody teach with authority, or the elect is who would have this mindset. Like, what new doctrine is this? It resonates with them, makes sense to them. It engages them. the truth that we're teaching, not only is it astonishing and authoritative, but it's also, you know, it's new to them, and it's a new doctrine. And it's really not a new doctrine. It's an ancient doctrine, but it's new to the people because remember, we're bringing our people back into remembrance of this knowledge, of this truth. And remember, reincarnation. If you remember something, it means you knew it in the past, right? Let me grab this real quick. What is it, John? I think it's John 14:26. The comfort is the scriptures, right? John 14:26. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. So you see that? The Holy Spirit brings everything into remembrance. That's why we know who we are. That's why we have the doctrine. It's new, right? It's new to the people who are here for the first time, taught the way we do, the way we teach, because we're like I say, we're in the same spirit as Yahweh Shai. So it's a new way of people hearing, the Bible being taught. It's like a new doctrine. But again, it's not new, because you go into that word new, it actually means refreshed. So we're like refreshing the minds of the people when they hear it. When the elect hears this, it's like a cold glass of water, right? They'll drink up the cold glass of water, you get refreshed. So to the elect, when they hear this doctrine, they may call it new, but what it is like I say, the word new, it means refresh. So it's bringing our people to remembrance. But for the 2/3 and the heathen, we're a stumbling block. They don't believe we are who we are. Remember I read, blessed is he that is not offended in me and my doctrine. Well, the elect are not going to get offended. They're going to be like, holy cow, this is this is heavy. This is the truth. But the 2/3, the heathen, they're going to get offended. That's why we use the Spirit. We test the Spirit by the Spirit, right? When we teach, and if we're being rude or authoritative or preaching with power, then we are. You see, we're not going to be. We're. That's what it is. The elect, they'll be refreshed. The 2/3 and the heathen are going to be. The 2/3 and the heathen are going to be offended, and then we're going to be a stumbling block to them. But there are going to be people who are the elect, who are able to receive us as prophets, and because of their faith and because of their ability to receive us as prophets, they're going to be blessed in the kingdom. They're going to receive salvation. You see? Let me get Mark 1, and I'll stop at 28. It says, and immediately his fame spread about throughout all the region round about Galilee. Right at the top now, the bottom of your screen. So that's the part of this truth. Our people are the men who teach this truth, and it's not something this is not why we do it, but we're going to receive fame. Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Ramlan, Elder Apostle Rakar. These men, it would be fame, right? A lot of people know the elders all around the world by this truth. And it's the internet that does the heavy lifting. So this is, it comes with the territory, but again, we don't do it because of the fame or the recognition, right? We do it because if we're sincere, we are of the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, if we're of that 144,000, we do this because the Spirit's on us to do this. And, if the fame comes, then, that's what it is. But then there's also infamous prophets, right? And they're going to be, those infamous prophets are going to be, sifted through. Guys like Bishop Nathaniel, guys like the leaders of these other alphabet camps, ISUPK, all the different camps. If they're not in GMS, they're going to be infamous. Meaning you're going to be famous for being, wicked. But the true man of Yahweh Bashem Yeshua, we're going to have, we're going to receive fame. It's part of the prophecy. All right, and then it makes sense because if men are always prophesying and YouTube is doing the heavy lifting, when that time is come, you're gonna have people that are gonna recognize your face because they've seen you on the videos. And when the time comes, in the day when the people are willing, they're gonna know who the prophets are, right? But again, this is not something that we do because we go out on the street corners to exalt Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We don't go out there because we want to be famous. All right, I want to make that clear. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out on that. I hope the lesson was edifying. I want to give all the honor, all the glory, all the power unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity. All right, shalom to the elect.